Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we have some XRP news today. We have some Bitcoin news. We have some Solana news, US treasuries news, and we have some credit union news. Very, very rare to have some credit union news. We haven't covered that in about a year and a half now. It's been a long time. But this first article, this is what I like to hear. It's titled this: XRP will power the world. Ripple CEO posts cryptic artwork. Cryptic? Let's find out what they're talking about here. So it says here, a framed artwork posted by Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse caused a wave of excitement within the XRP community earlier today. The artwork in question shows a stencil-style depiction of a downcast chimpanzee wearing a sandwich board that reads, quote, "Laugh now, but one day XRP will power the world." It is an adaptation of Banksy's iconic, quote, "Laugh now, but one day we'll be in charge," unquote, piece. Oh, cryptic. Yeah, sure. It's a little cryptic, but it's pretty direct. Brad Garlinghouse has let it be known, whether people like it or not, whether people believe or not, it's what he believes. He believes XRP will run the world. He believed at one time, I don't know if he still does, I'm pretty sure he does, but he believed at one time that XRP could take the bulk of the money. That's why they had the phrase, the phrasing of all the money at one time, right? I mean, people should be happy that this guy stands behind the native protocol so much. A lot of companies don't do that, right? He believes in that, and that's good because with that mentality, that means he's going to continue to push XRP forward. The people at the company move with his energy. People at companies move behind the leadership's energy. Sometimes you can't do anything else. And so far, you look at Brad Garlinghouse, you look at Monica Long, you take a look at David Schwartz. They all have the same winner's mentality. They want to win. They want their product to be the best. They believe XRP is the best. They're willing to go in and make the big partnerships. That's why early, they were the big dogs when it came to who had the most banks. They still are. You know, don't get me wrong. Like certain companies like Quant, they definitely have put themselves up there. There's not many that can compete with how many banks, Ripple and XRP have in the back seat just waiting to use the XRPL if those banks actually keep their word. Who knows if they are or they aren't. I mean, we're not in charge of that, but this is where it stands right now. But that mentality is what got everything right there. And now with them being so close to this case being a thing of the past, he's been very happy this last few weeks, and he's been letting it be known what he believes. And he believes that XRP is the one. The question now is, like, he's letting it be known. This is not that cryptic. Now, the question for the people just is, do they believe that XRP is the one? How do they feel? Because a lot of people have been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They believe, they don't. They believe one minute, then the next minute they don't. That's up to them. That's up to them. He's just clearly letting it be known how he feels. Listen, so you get this post right here, right? This picture. Then this is coming from the same guy. I don't know why people ever would doubt this guy. See, we must live different lives, because I know how this goes. When somebody gets something tatted on them, it means something. Now, I know nowadays people just get anything tattooed on them. It doesn't mean anything. That's a new era type thing. Brad Garlinghouse is from the old school. In the old school, tattoos meant something. You didn't get something tattooed on you unless it meant the world to you. And so he got XRP tattooed on himself. So that means it's something near and dear to his heart. It's something symbolic. It's something spiritual. Facts. He could do anything in the world right now. Ripple's already on top. They could do anything in the world, but he continues. Look at the focus. He continues to push XRP and support XRP. Even their stable coin is a setup to complement XRP and to open more doors for what? For XRP. That's what all the experts said. That's what I said in the beginning as well. I felt that way. So, I mean, this is great. This is great activity here. So now let's move on here. We have another article. So now this article here is titled Ripple CTO demystifies tokenization stuns XRP community. Let's scroll down here and find out what's going on. So it begins as such. Ripple CTO delivers insightful explanation that leaves XRP community stunned. Ripple's chief technology officer, David Schwartz, has delivered an impressive 1-minute explanation on tokenization that has stunned and enlightened the XRP community. His lucid explanation of how tokenization can enhance efficiency in asset management has stunned the XRP community. Wait, didn't they kind of say the same thing twice, but they just reiterated it differently? I think that's what they did. I could be wrong. Quote, if someone can't explain something in 60 seconds, they probably don't understand it. Unquote. In 60 seconds, anything? I don't know. I suppose that may apply to most things, I suppose. However, it also matters who you're explaining it to. That matters. All right, anyway. It says here, quote, crypto in 1 minute, unquote, which explains a crypto concept within 1 minute. In this particular clip, Schwartz explained how tokenization enhances efficiency within 60 seconds, proving that real understanding does not need a full minute. I suppose that's coming from your perspective. A lot of masters, they understand their audiences, that there's different degrees of minds, that there's different degrees of explanation, and they make way for all of it. This is why typically in masterful systems, you have different modes of explanation, but mastery itself takes a lifetime. So I keep that in mind as well, sir. All right now. So it says here, tokenization refers to the process of converting rights to an asset in a digital token on a blockchain. This can include anything from real estate and art to stocks and intellectual property. In his talk, Schwartz discussed the potential of tokenization to reduce risk connected with asset ownership and transfer. The XRP community's reaction to Schwartz's demystification of tokenization has been one of awe. I don't understand that. This stuff, he just said what we all already know. The clarity and succinctness of his explanation seem to have resonated with the crypto community as seen in X comments. Wait a minute. Let me go back to the top. I have to read that again. It didn't say tokenization refers to the process of converting rights to an asset into a digital token on a blockchain. Okay, we all know that. This can include anything from real estate and art, which we know. We've dealt with Algorand. They have their Lofty AI as an example for real estate tokenization. We've dealt with art, OpenSea on Ethereum. We know that. Stocks and intellectual property. We know about that. So far, nothing profound. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just saying, like, maybe this is just the writer needed some content or something. I don't know. In his talk, so like sometimes people need content, so they'll boost something up, make it seem much more profound than what it actually is. I don't know. It says in his talk, Schwartz discussed the potential of tokenization to reduce risks connected with asset ownership and transfer. Yeah, and many people have discussed that over the years. I don't see anything here that he said that was absolutely mind blowing. And I mean, he's putting his thoughts to it, his 2 cents to it. And listen, I have all the respect in the world for David Schwartz. I just don't see, as the writer says here, why people would be in awe of what he just said. I just don't get that. You've had a lot of blockchains explaining tokenization very well for years, from companies on Ethereum, companies on Algorand, people associated with Solana, also Hedera. No, that's just how I look at it. All right, so let's move on here. We have a little Bitcoin news here. And I thought this was interesting. Typically with the Bitcoin $1 million news, I typically would skip on by it. But this one here had a little bit more of an interesting bit of information, attached to it. And this article is titled, it says, using power laws to predict when Bitcoin price will hit $1 million. Now, don't worry. They have predictions that I'm going to read here that are more safe, more reasonable than the $1 million prediction, of course. But they'll cover that at the end. OK, so I'm just putting that out there. But when they said laws, I'm like, what do you mean power laws? I mean, you're talking about, the laws of polarity, the laws of balance, Things like that? No, no, they're not. There's some other laws that people came up with, I suppose. But they started out the article talking about universal law. And I'm like, universal law? They're going to talk about that for real? It wasn't the same universal law I'm thinking about, law of compensation, things like that. No, they're not talking about that. So this section is titled Implications for Investors. The Power Law Model offers intriguing insights into Bitcoin's potential future peaks. Santostasi's analysis, this is the expert, suggests that Bitcoin could peak at $210,000 in January of 2026. So that's interesting. I wouldn't, listen, I'm sticking to the $100,000. I think that it could definitely go there. Some people have said 150. That's also possible. I don't think $210,000 is too far fetched. I don't, not by 2026. Yeah, I don't think that is far fetched. It says followed by a subsequent decline to around $60,000. That far of a drop? I don't know. It's possible, definitely possible. From 210,000, I would think that, probably $100,000, $80,000, maybe, at the least. Where it could drop. That would be significant, very significant. I'm not sure the companies that are buying up all of the Bitcoin, and I think that's only going to increase. I'm not sure they will let it come down that far. I say this, look at gold over the last year and a half and look how it's behaved now that it's been sufficiently taken over by central bank activity. Look at that. They don't let it fall too far. So then I apply that same logic here to Bitcoin. That's how I look at it, but I could be wrong. It says, he goes on to predict that Bitcoin will be worth $1 million in July 2033. 2033? Okay, see, that's a long time from now. $1 million by 2033. Do you think Bitcoin, let me ask you folks something. And I know there's been problems in the comment section. I've seen it myself. I don't know listen, YouTube has problems sometimes. And so what I'm seeing is that people will leave comments and it'll show that there was a comment, like it'll go from 2 comments to 3 comments, right? But when I click through, it doesn't show me any comment. All right. So then if I go into the actual video, I have to go to the actual desktop, go into the video, then the comment may appear, but it doesn't always happen like that. YouTube has its problems from time to time and they usually correct it. Sometimes it could take days. I have seen it where it takes weeks, but they usually will correct their problems. But even so, with the comment section problems, which I'm glad that's the only thing right now, because my word, they were giving me a problem uploading videos the other day. It was insane. But even with that, if you're willing, let me know in the comment section. Do you feel like Bitcoin can make it to $1 million? You feel like that? I'm asking honestly, just to see what people feel out there. Anyway, it says, while mathematical models provide valuable insights, they are not immune to errors and may fail to account for unforeseen events that can significantly impact prices. Quote, all models are broken, but some are useful, unquote, means that while models may not be perfect, they can still provide valuable insights. Models like the power law model or the stock to flow model for predicting Bitcoin's price have their flaws and limitations. For example, Julio Marino from Crypto Quant pointed out issues with their power law model, such as underestimating errors and giving a misleading impression of accuracy. Interestingly, both the power law and the stock to flow models have faced similar criticisms. Despite their flaws, they have historically made almost the same predictions for Bitcoin's price. However, over time, they may diverge in their forecasts. All right, so now let's move on here. I think this is we're coming upon the first bit of Solana news here. So now, this article is titled Ethereum ETF Approval will set the stage for Solana ETF commodity. Now, this is what's interesting. Commodity classification. Now, this is their opinion. Of course, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but this is interesting. Industry experts, including Bernstein. Oh, Bernstein again. We haven't heard from them in a while. Believe Ethereum securing spot ETF approval will pave the path for Solana ETFs and commodity classification. Okay, now explain to me why. According to a recent Bernstein report, the approval of a spot Ethereum exchange-traded fund in the U.S. may establish a precedent for classifying Solana as a commodity. The classification of cryptocurrencies as either securities or commodities holds significant implications. Commodity classifications facilitates ETF applications and approvals, while securities classification subjects assets to stricter SEC oversight. Then it says here the big three. Let me just scan through this. The approval of spot Ethereum ETFs would mean SEC views the second largest crypto as a commodity, setting a critical precedent. This would mark the first time a non-Bitcoin digital asset receives such a classification, raising expectations for Solana to follow suit. Ether's price increased earlier this week after Bloomberg analysts raised the likelihood of SEC approval. I'm going to skip that little part. I want to get right to the Solana information. He speculated that Sol could be the next altcoin to receive ETF approval, highlighting it as a likely candidate for investment managers to push forward. Kelly emphasized that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are the, quote, big three digital assets that might see ETF products approved in this cycle. Why would XRP not be there? I don't understand that. Why wouldn't they include XRP? It has full clarity through the courts. It says, he noted the success of Bitcoin ETFs, which have collectively amassed a significant amount of Bitcoin. Yes, but what about the commodity aspect that you were talking about? It says, however, Kelly also acknowledged some skepticism within the Solana community. He mentioned that Solana's initial coin offering and its classification as a security by the SEC could pose challenges for ETF approval. Yes, but also I'll say, keep in mind that the SEC before this was going after Ethereum, claiming that Ethereum was a security. Remember that, but still it got approved. Like I said, if you watched the video from yesterday, there's a battle going on inside the SEC. So the commissioners had nothing to do with approving ETH or agreeing that ETH is a commodity or anything. They had nothing to do with this. So is there a chance for Solana? Yes, there is. If Ethereum got it done, there's the possibility Solana could get it done as well. OK. All right. So now moving right along here. We have another Solana article. This Solana article is titled, Get Ready for Solana ETF. Now, this information is coming from none other than Anthony Scaramucci, who I'm familiar with him from Algorand. Long time ago, he's been a long time Algorand supporter. It says pro-crypto U.S. financier and co-founder of Skybridge Capital Fund, Anthony Scaramucci, has taken the X social media network to share an outlook on the cryptocurrency, on which cryptocurrency the next ETF fund is going to be launched. It says he believes this will be Solana, the fifth largest cryptocurrency with market cap valued at $74 billion. Today, I'm rounding it off, of course. Today, Scaramucci published a tweet in which he advised the global cryptocurrency community to get ready because, quote, we are going to get a Sol ETF, unquote. I didn't know he was bullish on Solana. That's interesting. It says earlier this week, a similar prediction was issued by Brian Kelly, founder and CEO of BKCM LLC and a major CNBC contributor. He stated that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are probably, quote, the big three of this cycle. All right, moving right along here. Let's get to this treasuries news because economics is the main weapon of choice in the battles around the world right now. So this article is titled China sells $48 billion in U.S. treasuries in 1 quarter. Analyst says clear intention to dump U.S. dollar holdings is on display. It says the world's second largest economy is steadily unloading billions of dollars in U.S. treasuries. New data from the U.S. Treasury Department shows China pared its treasury holdings from $816 billion in December of last year to $767 billion in March. That's a quarterly decrease of $48 billion. The chief Asia foreign exchange and rates strategist at Bloomberg Intelligence, Stephen Cho, says a clear trend is underway. Quote, as China is selling both despite the fact that we are closer to a Fed rate cut cycle, there should be a clear intention of diversifying away from U.S. dollar holdings. The drop in China's ownership of U.S. bonds comes as former International Monetary Fund Deputy Director Desmond Lockman warns that a fresh trade war between the two largest economies is brewing. In a post on the Washington-based think tank American Enterprise Institute, Lockman says that both President Biden and former President Trump are drumming up, quote, punitive import tariffs, unquote, against China. That's interesting. Quote, in addition to a 100% import tariff on Chinese electrical vehicles, Biden announced that the U.S. will triple import tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum, and double import tariffs on Chinese semiconductors and solar cells. But that's not a surprise, especially with the semiconductor battle that's been going on the last 1.5 to 2 years, and the U.S. wanting and attempting to increase their own output in the creation of semiconductors, as well as semiconductor material. It says, not to be outdone, former President Trump is indicating that if he is elected again as a president, okay, so a whole lot of economic battle going on here, you know. But what's important here is them dumping these treasuries. That's is only going to increase. And there's a lot of dollar dumping going on around the world. But let's move on here to this credit union information. I don't remember what this article is about. Oh, credit unions and tokenization. Yeah, here we go. So this article is titled U.S. Credit Unions Adopt Tokenization of Real World Assets. Everybody's getting in on it. There's going to be a lot of money coming into blockchain technology because of this. It says in the future, of course, not financial advice. Traditional banks may still dominate the financial industry in terms of assets held, but credit unions are becoming an increasingly popular option for Americans who qualify. Recent data shows that there are roughly 4,600 credit unions in the United States. A September 2023 report from the National Credit Union Administration, NCUA, further notes that nearly 139 million Americans were members of federally insured credit unions, up 20% from 5 years prior. In addition, the credit union market size, measured by revenue, totaled $126 billion last year. Says John Wingate, chief executive of financial platform Bank Social, told Crypto News that a credit union is a member-owned bank. Quote, unlike for-profit banks that are owned by shareholders, credit unions are owned by the members. One member, one share, one vote, unquote, said Wingate. Quote, given this, the credit union ethos and the decentralized finance ethos are perfectly aligned, unquote. I was just thinking that. Sounds a lot like DeFi. It says, while this may be true, credit unions face a number of challenges that may hamper future growth. Kyle Hopman, vice chairman of the NCUA, an independent U.S. government agency that regulates federal credit unions, told Crypto News that credit unions buy and sell pieces of loans. Quote, this is a clunky process called loan participations, unquote, said Hopman. A compliance blog from the National Association of Federally Insured Credit Unions explained that loan participation occurs whenever the ownership interests in the loan are divided up and sold. All right, that we know. Here we go. Tokenization. Thank you. Here we go. Considering the challenge, Hopman believes that tokenizing loans that aren't big enough to be securitized in a bond offering may be helpful. Quote, a smart contract would automatically pay the buying credit union their 20%, unquote, said Hopman. Quote, that credit union will never have to ask, did they make a payment? Or when do I get my piece, unquote. We were talking about this like 1.5 to 2 years ago. Remember? I said this would happen, and now we're seeing it come to fruition. It just makes perfect sense. Why not have everything automated? It says Ravi De Silva, managing partner at compliance risk management firm D-Risk Partners, my apologies, told Crypto News that tokenization could also help manage compliance risk by providing greater transparency, security, and efficiency. For example, De Silva believes that tokenization would be helpful for credit unions and anti-money laundering use cases. Okay, so now we're going to stop right there for today. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend so far, fantastic Saturday. And now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.